August 2025, InnerPlant hosted a technology demonstration field day in Perry, Iowa that took guests through the 2030 growing season with a walking tour featuring demonstrations representing a different day in the future season. Each stop on the tour showcased a specific aspect of how InnerPlant's technology will shape the future of agriculture. This special Croptastic series of episodes is designed to tell the story of that day and share the demonstrations with a wider audience. This episode features InnerPlant's Chief Commercial Officer Gary Schaefer explaining the CropVoice product and how InnerPlant's technology is delivering value to farmers today.
I'm Gary Schaefer, Chief Commercial Officer here at InnerPlant, and delighted. It's a real pleasure to be with everybody today and to talk about CropVoice. So like I'm the last stop before we go to 2030. And part of this stop, as Shelley mentioned, is to really just to bring to light the CropVoice product that we're selling to farmers today. And so think of CropVoice as it's the product platform that we use to bring our pipeline of crop sensor traits to market. And we're able to do that in a much faster way than how seed technology usually comes to market. Which really makes the CropVoice product platform unique. Before we jump in though about CropVoice, a little bit about our first product. It's Inner Soy Fungal Trait. This is a sensor, a soybean sensor in a soybean plant that alerts farmers when that plant is actually infected with a fungal pathogen. Okay? Sounds pretty simple, but it solves actually a really, really important problem. The problem it solves, right, really revolves around the fact of how farmers are managing these soybean diseases today. Quite frankly, it's guessing, right? Farmers are able to see weeds and know when to spray a weed, but they don't know when plants are actually infected with fungal pathogens. That results actually in more than 60% of farmers actually not managing fungal diseases in their fields. Significant. 40% of farmers are taking action to manage fungal diseases in their fields. But when do they spray? They spray when a crop is at a certain growth stage because they don't know when the plant is infected. So we think about that 40% and the amount of misapplication of chemical that could be further optimized if farmers actually knew when plants were infected with fungal disease. And the way we do that with CropVoice, comparing kind of the status quo of where we are today with what CropVoice will enable, right? CropVoice, and we'll draw a couple analogies here, a couple parallels. CropVoice, right, is where we take these inner soy fungal traded soybeans and we place plots of these, sentinel plots, in a network around an area, a region, a state, a number of counties, and we place these plots much like a cell phone company places cell phone towers to provide service and data to your cell phone. We place these sentinel plots to provide information to farmers whether or not plants in their area are actually infected with fungal diseases. And we do that in CropVoice starting this year in 2025. And we'll continue to do this for the future years as well as for the other traits in our pipeline that are coming to market. But a little bit of how we do that in CropVoice. CropVoice is fundamentally based upon the fluorescent trait technology of our Inner Soy soybeans. That is the underlying technology that powers the CropVoice network. But we also utilize past weather, future weather, because we know that fungal diseases, in the case of Inner Soy fungal, weather plays a very, very important part as to whether or not that fungal pathogen will proliferate further and what the risk level farmers face with that fungal pathogen is. So it's important that we factor in CropVoice and providing alerts to farmers and model what the weather impact is going to have. In addition to the weather, we've also set up our own proprietary lab where we run molecular PCR assays. We're able to sample thousands and thousands of samples of plants with our local scouting and agronomy services team. So imagine, we're seeing plants that are fluorescent. It's July 11th. And these plants are fluorescing, indicating that there is an infection. And our agronomy team and our partners are able to go out in the surrounding areas and sample plants. Send these samples to our laboratories, the CropVoice DNA lab, where we run proprietary assays to determine the scope and spread of this fungal pathogen that's infecting these plants across the given area, so that we can promptly inform farmers not just whether these fields close to this sentinel plot are infected, but whether the fields they farm over here are infected as well. And this is a lot of what goes into the CropVoice product, right? This is a lot of the data points that feed into what we ultimately deliver to our farmers via one of two ways. We deliver this information via a simple SMS text message, right? So in the early days, as we were putting the CropVoice product together, we did some market research. We talked to our farmer customers. We asked, do you want a new app? CropVoice app? And resoundingly, no. Send me a text. So we built a text message campaign. So we provide an alert, and it's as simple as a touch or a click on a cell phone to see the alerts relevant to the fields that you have enrolled in CropVoice. And we found that to be very, very effective. We also provide the alerts in the John Deere Operations Center. A little bit of the reason why behind providing these alerts and this information via John Deere Operations Center, right? We also often get the question of, well, I use this for agronomy, and I use this for agronomy, and I use this. But really what InnerPlant and what we're trying to drive here with CropVoice is not just, additional information, but a bias towards action. So is the information that we're providing, is it compelling enough for a farmer that they're going to make a management decision and change because of it? And so by combining this information, this agronomic insight into a platform that can implement and operationalize that insight, the sum of both of those becomes a work plan. And at the end of the day, that's what farmers execute against every single day, which is why we found it, not just for now, but as we continue to build capabilities, something important to feature this information into the ops center. So you're wondering a little bit about what does this information look like? And let me give you a snapshot, just a little bit of a feel for what are you getting in CropVoice. So farmers that have enrolled in CropVoice this year across Nebraska and Illinois, and I'll touch on Northeast Nebraska here in this example, they receive a couple things, right? So in the crux of the season, in the prime time of when fungal infections, stress is really happening, we provide a scouting report every week. That scouting report has really two parts. It provides all of the data points that are gathered daily for what has happened in that network for the past 7 days. What it also provides is what's going to happen, a forecast of what the risk level is going to be for the next 7 days. Okay, so it illustrates what we have learned, but it takes also that information to predict what is likely going to happen in the next 7 days. Okay? In addition to that scouting report, which you can see here, a number of those throughout the growing season in this area, we also provide a disease alert. Disease alerts come at any time, any day. And we often say the CropVoice network is protecting your fields 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. This year was a testament to that. I think for those of us in InnerPlant, and I think even more so those of us in agriculture, will come to remember this day as something quite special for a really key reason. So in July 11th, the first red dot here, disease alert, that was the first time in the 10,000-year history of agriculture that we were able to detect the actual infection of a plant in production agriculture with a fungal disease in as close to real time as it ever did. So just let that sink in. Like, what does that amount of information allow a farmer to do and manage their fields different than they've ever been able to do before? That's how we take the guesswork out of the game. And you'll see other snippets up here around, gives you a little bit of a context of the information we provide in the scouting reports, the maps with the forecasts that we track weekly, all of which is customized to local agronomic practices. But the crux of really what we're doing is giving farmers the ability to plan by understanding what has happened, but by providing them a view of what is likely going to happen, but then giving them the key information to know when to take action because plants are actually infected. And so this is just a snippet from Nebraska and part of Nebraska in 2025. And there's a lot of stories we've learned through CropVoice this year that I know myself and the team would love to continue and talk with you about. But as we continue to scale, to give you a scope, a little bit of an idea, we really started with the vision of thinking about 3 key states that we wanted to focus on, which was Iowa, Illinois, and Nebraska. And so over the last couple of years, 2026 will be the 3rd year that we've operationalized CropVoice. And you'll see we further focused beyond just those 3 states to even counties within those states, right? So if you look to the counties highlighted in green, kind of think of those as our micro markets, or really it's just where we got to focus, right? And where as a commercial team we're putting a stake in the ground to say where we want to be able to provide value, and we're going to grow from here, right? So the vision is that in 2027 all of that's green, and we're contiguous from eastern Illinois to Kearney, Nebraska, and even farther north and south from there. But within those counties and those highlighted on this chart, it represents a little over 10.5 million acres of soybeans. Right? We sell CropVoice to our farmer customers with our retail partners, so we partner with local retailers to sell this. In those green areas, there's about 561 different retail locations. Okay? We'll be partnering with hundreds of those, not all those 561s, but a significant amount of those 561 to enroll a little over 1 million acres of CropVoice in 2026. And so it's going to be exciting as we've learned and seen so much. I mean, monumental moments that we got to be a part of this year. And to really see and to hear from farmers just how much CropVoice has in just this year changed how they think about making management decisions to continue to bring this broader. So really pleased with where we're going in 26, and if you continue to extrapolate, we'll share with you in soon where geographies will be covering beyond that. But that's a little bit about CropVoice. So kind of the key takeaways, if you think about CropVoice is solving really 2 key problems for a farmer: if and when. If there's fungal disease that is infecting plants, not just that it's present, not that a model is suggesting that risk is high, but whether or not if plants are actually infected with the disease. The second key problem that CropVoice solves is the when. When does that happen? And I think that's really compelling, right? So in the case of this year in northeast Nebraska, that when was July 11th. Did you know in those fields that were sprayed July 11th, disease symptoms are not even present right now? They're just starting to show up. Those farmers got a 3 to 4 week head start. So CropVoice is solving 2 really big problems that are not able to be addressed today, a significant unmet need. As we prepare to leave 2025 though, and we go to 2030, the rest of the day is going to be focused on the where. So not just the if and the when, but the where. And the where is by farm, by field, right? Both at the field level, the plant level, and then the farm enterprise level. And how we think about the different modalities that Shelley alluded to that will enable us to understand where this disease and pressure is at. So we'll start that and head to the satellite demonstration, and we will go to the farm of 2030.